Alright, I'm going to show you how to put this wrap on a flask. First thing you want to do is kind of see how much room you have. Like, these are pre-measured, I already know. Get some painter's tape. And you're going to cover up however long. You want to make sure the glue isn't above the wrap is what you're trying to do. So if you would just wrap this flask, and it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, but that'll keep the glue or the cement or whatever I use Barge's cement. That'll keep it underneath the wrap. And then do the same thing to the bottom side. So you want to make sure that that covers your open space. So now we'll put the cement on. Make sure your tape's down good. Now the most important part is this is the back side where it's curved. And you see your holes. We're going to sew that up on the back side. So you don't want to cement the entire thing down. You're going to want to leave, I like to leave at least a ½ inch space that's not cemented down so that I can lift it to be able to stitch it. And you'll see why when we stitch it. So the same thing on the back. You don't want to put cement right down the middle of the back, just on the sides, because I don't want that part in the middle stuck down. And I've learned, don't put this on too awfully thick on this metal. And you can kind of use your taped pieces to hold it till you get it all coated. And I like to take it, this painter's tape's pretty stiff, so I can kind of just let it stand up while I'm waiting for the cement to set before I can stick it. Same thing here. Like I said, you want to stay away from your edge where you're going to sew it, because then you have a whole mess. You won't be able to lift it enough to stitch it. And because this is getting stitched, this doesn't have to be perfectly cemented down. This just keeps it stuck on there. Yeah, like there's some projects where you got to really make sure you cover every surface with cement and even hammer them down and weight them and everything else. This one's a little bit more forgiving of a project to cement. So we'll let that sit, for about 15-20 minutes, and we'll stick it on. Alright, now that the cement has had its set time, we're going to unwrap this. You just gotta be careful with it. It's not the easiest or funnest thing to do, but you got a little bit to hold on to on your taped parts. And just make sure you don't get glue on any exposed part. Alright. You just want to make sure you kind of center it as best you can. Alright. And you want to try to wrap it as tight as you can. If you got all your measurements right and everything, you should wind up right in the middle. And I like to use these clamps. Usually 3 of them work. And till your cement sets, and then we'll come back and stitch it. Alright, now we got the flask wrap cemented down. And see, this is where I was saying you need to have room to be able to lift this up a little bit. You don't want to glue that completely down. I use these curved needles for stitching these up. It can be a little pain to get started. And most of the time, because the angle of the eye hole in the needle and the angle of your chisels don't line up, it's kind of hard to pull through. And you just want to make sure that you start even in the middle. Like that. And just keep track of which one's which. And I like to do a little cross pattern on them. Keep this where you can see it. And then just keep your same pattern going So I like to crisscross over. Kind of gives, doing it this way gives it kind of like a baseball looking stitch. You can do whatever pattern you want. You can make it where it make that actual crosses, however you want to do it. Right. Anyway, that gives you your kind of like a baseball looking stitch on it. And I'll continue it down and we'll see it when it's done. Alright, here is the finished wrap on the flask.